We're back after a week of jam-packed football. We have 2 games to cover and 1 to ponder over. All that is next. Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to this Red Kingdom Media production, bringing you raw, authentic Chiefs coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on your team. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to this week's edition of the Home of the Chiefs podcast. Our home. We have a guest episode for you this week. Just standard Clinton and Shannon are back with you this week. Obviously, we were not here last week. That is because we had a very quick turnaround week. Just had a game on Monday night, and blink 6 days later, we're already back in Arrowhead again.
Yeah.
So we weren't gonna try to make things a little harder on us than they had to be. We already had stuff to cover from the game. We already had your vlog series to work on, and you're working on the Broncos version of that right now, right after we get done.
This one's gonna be long too.
Yeah, that's what people are here for.
Yeah.
But we couldn't leave you hanging for too long, and we also couldn't let you escape without at least giving you a taste of some of the Tampa talk. So I've titled this one, Baker Doesn't Win. I don't know why, it just stuck with me. So that's what I did. So obviously, week 9 and 10 happened very close together, arguably within the same week.
Yeah.
So first, we're going to talk about the Buccaneers game. The Chiefs were able to escape Arrowhead with a 30-24 win in overtime, not allowing Tampa to have the ball after they elected to kick a PAT and not go for 2. So what were your kind of thoughts throughout that game? And obviously now that we're officially 1 full week past that game, what are your takeaways from the game now, and how have your thoughts about the game changed since?
Yeah, I thought it was a good fight right from the start. I feel like both teams came out and they were gonna do it and they were gonna give their all, and it really came down to, like you said, that last play that the Bucs were just like, yeah, okay, we're not gonna do this, so we're just like, okay, we're gonna do it. So we did, and it just, I feel like if they did go for it, we would not have had a chance. So I feel like that really gave us the luck we needed. And it has been a thing where like every single Chiefs game pretty much has come down to luck. And that was what this game came down to. And we got to see it, and it was awesome. It was amazing.
Well, I think we know what point you're going to make when we hit the next segment here. But
yeah,
you wouldn't be the only person proclaiming the Chiefs have luck. But, I mean, there's some people as part of our network that would have some choice words about you saying that it's all luck. Because
I mean, it's not all luck.
8-0 at this point of the game we're covering. You know, as lucky or as good as you are, you can't luck your way into 8 straight wins in a row.
For sure.
Like
you can't luck your way to a Super Bowl either. So it's like,
no,
there's got to be some skill involved. There's got to be some coaching that's going on that's doing well. There's got to be a quarterback like Mahomes that you have there that's a leader, and he's taking these young players and he's making them into something that's a franchise. So
right, yeah, you need to be disciplined. You know, I've said it last year. You need kind of all the stars aligned anyway, but the Chiefs are very good at winning and overcoming despite those. And I think a lot of this season so far has felt like preseason in their mind. They really have not wanted to put their foot on the opponent's throat and show no mercy. They're always trying to give them a little bit of extra rope just to keep pulling them like they got a chance.
Yeah.
And, you know, that Buccaneers game, you know, I also agree. If they go for 2, our defense was not doing well at that point. Obviously, we can't speculate, but it certainly looked like the 2 points would have been good, and then the Chiefs would have had no time at all to go downfield and had to get points, versus they elect to tie the game. We get a possession after that. We don't do anything, and then it's left up to a coin flip. And now that we're in the regular season again, if you score a touchdown in overtime, it's over.
Yeah.
Whereas the Chiefs in February knew the situation about overtime in the playoffs, where they would have wanted the ball second because they wanted to see what the other team would do. And then when they knew that they only had to get a field goal, it was like, well, touchdown, we're going to end the game.
Yep.
So, just decisions like that, or coaching decisions like that, go back to bite you. Like, the Denver game we'll get into here and those decisions, but like these games are tough.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs could have got on any of these 2 games, and that Buccaneers game was kind of a wake-up call because it was about one of the first times where our offensive line started to have some cracks, and we started to get beat quite a bit. I believe Holmes was sacked 4 times that game.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to have that. And then we've also seen our own defense struggle a little bit, and Tampa was down quite a bit in their receiving core. Like, arguably the best weapons they have weren't even on the field for that game.
Yeah, that's true.
And some of those struggles continued into Sunday's matchup. But, overall, when it's a Monday night and things are happening and it's so crazy and an ending like that, you're just happy to get the win. And now that, it's been a week and we've been able to digest that game a little more, I think this is not necessarily like alarm bells going off, but this is about when the team should start reflecting on their weaknesses and really questioning, do they have enough to complete this three-peat? And I know right now we could all talk about undefeated. I'm sure none of us really want to have that conversation. And anytime we bring it up, we think we're jinxing it or something like that. But yeah, I've said this numerous times. I'm ready for a complete game from the Chiefs.
Me too.
I'm ready for a game where their offense performs as well as you'd expect and their defense does just as much as you expect.
Yeah.
And it's a 31-7 win.
Yeah,
like
a blowout win. We haven't seen that yet.
No. And we've gone against plenty of teams who you could say are inferior to the Chiefs. And I'm not pointing fingers and I'm not saying your team stinks. But the Chiefs are atop, if not the very tip top of
statistically better.
In the league. They are the best team. Their record shows that, and their talent also shows that. But we're doing a lot of underachieving.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time. And I think our last segment could be a chance for that to finally come to fruition. But I am hoping to finally see the Chiefs take these opponents seriously and come into a game ready to dominate it and show no mercy in it.
Yeah.
And I think at times Andy Reid is like too polite of a coach.
Yeah, I think he holds back a little.
If not the like actual plays, the like decision making. Like how many times has he decided to go for a field goal versus a touchdown?
Yeah.
Really cool in this Broncos game that we went for it on 4th and goal. That's a big decision.
Yeah, we did see
that's
that.
something that I don't think we would have seen 5 years ago. But the dynamics of the team have changed where we're a little more aggressive in that decision making because we're confident in who we have and the idea of like Mahomes gets it in his hands and he finishes it, it's over.
Yep.
So it's good that the Monday night Bucs game basically ended in that way. And that was a game where Mahomes started to look better. Several passing touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah.
D-Hop had his 2 touchdowns
to
really stamp his way into the lineup. Kelsey's starting to accumulate more and more.
He's warming up.
he literally has the most receptions over the last couple weeks after the first couple weeks of the season where he barely had a catch, barely had any yards, no touchdowns. So we're already starting to build up his stat sheet there. And we kind of all figured that Travis would be a little slow ramp up. And now that we're hopefully transitioning into like phase 2 or like 1.5 of the regular season where it's time to take things more seriously, it's a good indicator that the old heads, as we've been calling them, that they're ready to do what they are supposed to do and basically carry us throughout this. And Mahomes is leaning on these older guys and letting, Xavier Worthy come up slow. A couple other guys who are still kind of learning the ropes are not really the star. The offensive line is still getting tweaked, and the Broncos game was a little more extreme than what we saw, but the problems are still there, that we need to do a better job of protecting Mahomes or getting him routes and play concepts where he can get the ball out faster.
Yeah.
Because I will say, in this Buccaneers game, we did see him kind of hang back in the pocket a little more, which is a good sign, because you want the quarterback to kind of maneuver in that little pocket to get the ball out. But Mahomes has his tendency to roll out and immediately run away.
Yeah.
And I think on Monday that kind of affected him by not doing that. He was willing to stay more patient, but if the routes don't yield anybody open, then it's a coverage sack. Like, there's nobody to throw to. You're not going to check it up for an interception. Sometimes you can't escape the pocket and throw it out of bounds. So you have to eat the sack. And I think, Mahomes might have done that a couple times. I think in a game like our last segment, I don't think you can afford to make some mistakes like that.
Yeah.
Like, every drive is going to feel important. As a fan, we think so.
Yes.
On the field, they can say, oh, we've got one more drive to think about it. But all of us were thinking, well, if you screw up here, it's over.
Done. Yeah.
Like, if you let them score here, it's over. If they go to overtime, it's over. If they kick this field goal, it's over. But circumstances can change and be drastically wild like that. But overall, I'm glad that we were able to escape with the win first and foremost. But I think we need to start evaluating this team a little more now that we're officially towards the midway point of the season.
I think we're officially halfway through.
We're transitioning into Thanksgiving time. We're transitioning into December/January football. It's not even that cold here in Kansas City, but we're going to be ready for the cold wind chill and the snow and the ice that we get.
Yeah.
So overall, I'm happy with what I saw. I'm happy about the offense in this game. I think the defense had some room to improve, and I think they did show improvement in the following game. The offense made a kind of a dip there.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm pleased that we were able to escape Monday night, and I think because of the way that Monday ended, the Chiefs didn't consider this Broncos game a trap or take it lightly. They still took it as serious, but I think both teams took it just as serious, and that's why it was like a game of inches, like tiny fingernail length of what decided this game.
Yeah, it literally came down to the last play, like pretty much all of these other games have. So it's like,
the Chiefs are not a team to have you leaving happy through the end of the third quarter. You're going to have to stay the entire time to watch the entirety of the game transpire.
Yeah, they'll make sure you get the most out of your tickets.
Or your most of the watching on TV and getting those viewership numbers. So, but yeah, that's all that we've got for the Buccaneers segment. Before we go ahead and move on to our second topic, make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media. If you're listening to us on Spotify and our audio podcast, thank you. You're a diehard. If you give us 5 stars and a review, I'll definitely call you out and acknowledge you and say thank you for all your hard efforts. But follow us on all of our social media platforms. We put out some TikTok shorts based on our content, make some video series and all that stuff. So make sure to check us out if you're not already. Would you like to be sitting on the other side of this podcast with the two of us right now, getting asked questions about your fandom and also get to play Stephen A. Smith and give your thoughts about the Chiefs games and who you like and don't like from the Chiefs rosters? Well, you can hit up that link in the description and that will give you access to be a potential guest on this Home of the Chiefs podcast. We would love to talk to you. If you're not a Chiefs fan, that's okay too. We will change the show format to ask you questions based on your favorite team.
Yeah.
So, and I'd love to have a 32 versions of this show or home of or whatever. Fly Eagles fly. We already had one of those. Just played the Broncos. Get a Broncos fan in. Like, we are not.
Have them limit. Have them rant. Have them just talk to us. Whatever you want to do.
We are not discriminatory in any way. We want to hear it from any and everybody. So if being on a future episode and getting to talk sports interests you, then hit up that link below and make sure to apply to be on the show. Maybe you'd like to read our Substack. We've got a daily update Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Central Time, most days, straight to your inbox in your email to catch you up on all the latest news around the NFL. You know, after a game, a lot of it may be a team wins, but sometimes there's some news that slips and you don't see it. And it's nice to have those kind of as a reminder the next day. Or maybe you're someone who isn't on social media all the time, and this is how you keep up with the news. Well, if that's the case, we appreciate that. And thank you for your support. Perhaps if you'd like to go deeper, we also have a paid membership for $5 a month that you can have access to our pregame and postgame write-ups that Dale and Rodney do respectively. And stay tuned, and the more subscribers we have on there, the more we may be willing to drop some more exclusive content. If we see that the demand is high, then we'll definitely figure out some behind the scenes things or maybe even some lost media for you guys to enjoy.
Ooh.
So if that interests you, make sure to subscribe to our Substack and be a paid member. And last but not least, we have t-shirts. And we're trying to get other merch made, but you guys need to buy our merch to justify why we should have more merch created. So we've got these shirts. They're very nice. They are $30, which I think is a very reasonable price.
Oh, yeah.
And it has any and all sizes. So if you like our brand and want to show love and want to show support
local.
Buy local, handmade, made right here in the middle of the map. If that interests you, then message, one of us, Dale as well, anybody on our team. If you want to buy a shirt, hit us up and we will get you that shirt. Now we move on to our second topic, which is about barely beating the Broncos. The Chiefs were able to escape Arrowhead on Sunday afternoon with a narrow 2-point margin, all coming down to a field goal that is blocked by Leo Chenal. And honestly, I need to share some of it with you because the Broncos guard had lots of trouble this season already in field goals and extra point situations. Because if you watch it back, you will see their offensive linemen just get completely ran over.
Yeah, I did see that.
So, and it was the same guy who's done it multiple times. So the Chiefs wasn't necessarily lucky.
Yeah.
They were strategic and used it at the right time because, if they didn't do that, they would have lost. So
yeah, I did see something where, somebody had wrote, it was somebody's opinion, and they were like, if Spags wasn't there, they probably wouldn't have blocked that kick if Spags didn't do what he did. So
gotcha. Yeah. So the Chiefs studied some film and made that decision, and Leo made that play to seal the win. So now that it's a win, we can all be happy about it, and we're all happy and cheery looking ahead to the Bills. What are your thoughts about the game, and who are your offensive and defensive MVPs?
I was so nervous. I thought we were gonna lose. And I was hopeful until like the last 2 minutes of the game. And then I was like, we're done. It's done. It's not gonna happen. We're gonna lose. The Broncos are gonna beat us. And I was so mad. And we just started walking out, and then we heard the screaming, and you'll see on the vlog, but it's so crazy that that happened because I was thinking in my head, oh, it would be really funny if they got like some type of something to go their way and end up winning this game.
Mm-hmm.
And like 30 seconds later, it happened. So it was kind of a little premonition, I thought, which was like really funny. And I don't know, that was weird to me to have that. And then it happened. So it was like, seeing that and seeing how much they fought at the end to still like come out on top is really cool. But they did have some like mistakes that were made, and a lot of like Mahomes got sacked a lot.
He did.
And there was a lot of stuff that they could have done differently and better and just bring in more of what they were doing, but they just didn't. And I don't know why. I think it seemed like they were holding back for whatever reason a little bit. And I think that we've talked about that before, and then we've seen that a little bit this season where I feel like they're just not going all out, even though they were fighting to win.
Mm-hmm.
It was like something like, oh yeah, we have to do this. We have to win. It kind of felt like we have to do this and not like we want to do this and we want to be on top kind of. And I want to see more of the fight from like both sides, but especially the offense. And I want to see them come out and just dominate. Like you said, I want to see a 30-7 game or something like that. I want that to be a thing, but I think we're just going to have more connections and more on the offense. So I think my offensive MVP for this game was Kareem Hunt, just because we've seen a lot more from him, and we've seen quite a bit from him already, and I think that watching him is just so fun. And he really showed out for this game. He was that one person that went through and got done. So it was that where he was like the one that I would say was on top of this game. And he was really on his thing. And then Travis was too. But I feel like Kareem was just a little above Travis in that aspect where he was like more in tune. And then for defense, I would say Nick Bolton. Just because he did have that one sack, and that was really a good sack, and we needed that, and it got us to where we needed to be. And I feel like he did what he needed to do, and he showed that he could really get it done.
I think for me, just overall impressions for this Broncos game, I also have some concerns going forward. I'll praise the defense because at times it didn't look like they were winning in most times.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like they were getting bullied at other times.
Yeah.
But when you look at the scoreboard and you see 2 touchdowns as the only point scored and 14 total points, I mean, you really can't be upset by those metrics for this Chiefs defense. They've given you, far more than that. Mm-hmm. and played better. So I think you have to be pleased with that performance. Steve Spagnuolo got his first impressions of Bo Nix. I think he may have a new level of respect for him. He might give him maybe some more of a Justin Herbert type of appreciation.
Yeah.
Because Bo Nix might be the type of guy to be around for a while. And we've seen Spags usually take advantage of rookie QBs, and other times they've been able to flash against him. So, just take that into consideration. We'll see how the Chiefs versus Broncos do to close the season as the very last game of the year. Whether or not that game is going to matter for the Chiefs because their situation may already be locked up. And so that game and win doesn't matter on their schedule. But if they are in a tight race and that last week is important, then it'll be interesting to see how these teams do in that rematch, roughly about the same amount of weeks from now as has already happened.
Yeah.
So, and since I'm talking about the defense, I'll go ahead and give out my defensive MVP to Najee Johnson. I was talking with the guys, and I was just thinking, I really want Najee to stay healthy. That was his one thing. The coaching staff praised him last summer, and he was supposed to make the start, and he gets hurt in training camp, and he's slowly made his transition back. He's gotten on and off injured over the last few weeks. But with Jalen Watson being out of the picture, we really need some secondary stepping up and really taking on some ownership to ensure that position still looks dominant. So I'm giving a shout out to him. He had the second sack of the game as well. Both sacks on Bo Nix were very deep, 15+ yard sacks, where the one sack was enough to basically kill the drive, and it didn't even happen on third down. I think a couple of those were on first and second. So it was like a complete conceding to, you got us on that one. And we'll punt it away and try again next time. So, Sean Payton in that regard must have a lot of respect for Spagnuolo because he really did not test him much. And there really were not a lot of jump balls against us. Or we saw Trent McDuffie kind of get picked on a little bit, but when you're the guy you're going against is arguably a top 20 receiver, is 6 inches taller than you, and making a lot more money than you. He's probably going to get you a couple times, and I hope that McDuffie takes this game and learns from it and continues on and plays better into next week as he covers all of Josh Allen's weapons. And then for the offense, I'm giving it to Travis Kelce. I'm happy to see him make his way back into the offense, and I'm really glad to see him get those 5 to 8 yard receptions and not the force feed him the ball at the line of scrimmage where he gets tackled immediately. I'm really glad that we stopped going away from that and just started letting him do what he's best at. And that's moving the chains and being a drive extender and being a distraction that allows Kareem Hunt to take the ball over and over again and pound it into the end zone. So I'm giving it to Travis. I think the offense, they struggled a lot. That offensive line, and everyone's specifically saying the left tackle, but we've seen the right tackle on his butt a lot too. But it's clear that they need to do something, and it was very glaring that Wanya Morris is injured, and then the Chiefs can't drive the ball at all. With Kingsley, and he gets sacked. He gets Mahomes sacked constantly and quickly, and Wanya Morris comes back into the game towards the end of the half, I believe, and that's when we start putting up points, and that's when we start having scoring drives again. And we can't be a one injury away from our offense just being unable to compute, able to function. Like it can't be like that. So I'm fine if the Chiefs bring on a Donovan Smith or bring in some more depth, because we need some security, and Patrick needs that security. I think he's been, for the most part, pleased with his offensive line, And, I think that this offensive line is a better running unit than a passing unit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're good at run blocking versus pass blocking, then you should do what you're best at and run the ball. And I think the last couple weeks prior to this Broncos game, we saw Kareem Hunt get enough carries, and then everyone else started to get some of the love that spread through this offense.
Yeah.
But when things are not clicking and the Kareem runs are not working, and therefore Andy Reid pulls back on them and we don't see as many, the offense just does not produce quite to the levels that they're capable of.
Yep.
And I'm not even saying the levels of 2018 where I'm asking you to score 50 points. I'm just saying score 3 to 4 touchdowns and waste 8 minutes of clock here and there in the other drives. Like,
True.
just be smart about it. And I think the Chiefs at time can be.
Yeah.
But divisional matchups are always a battle, regardless. And it was fortunate that the Chiefs were able to successfully win this one. However, the stuff was not in their favor. And if you line up everything again, roll the dice, that's not the same outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a way, Denver got you, but it's not going to show up as a loss on your stat sheet.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs are fortunate in that regard, and I think they were happy that they kind of limped their way into this week now that we're in. But don't forget that we have some more divisional matchups ahead, and the Chargers are doing just as good. And so arguably every AFC team the Chiefs have the rest of their schedule are already in the playoffs. So if we all talked before the season started, basically saying that the hardest stretch of the season is going to be at the very beginning, boy, were we wrong, because they escaped those with 9 wins, and now all the teams toward the end of the year seem like the struggle ones.
Yeah.
So, I'm just glad that we escaped. Just like you, I was not very confident in how things were going and had already kind of assumed defeat. Was not feeling that the defense was going to make a shift. So I felt like I just had to really lock in and think, how is the way this could change in our favor? It's got to be from some other place or spot on the field, because it's not going to be a defense. And we were very fortunate that the special teams was able to seal the victory for us, because I knew it was going to take a special play to overcome the odds. And now it is time for the final topic, which is bring on the Bills. KC now heads to Buffalo to take on arguably their toughest opponent yet, a team that looks as good, if not just a little bit better in their performances, and the Buffalo Bills for Week 11, 3:25 on CBS, or we're watching it at home after 2 games that we went to in the span of 1 calendar week. So now you're at home and you get to digest this AFC divisional matchup rematch from last year versus that tough Buffalo game where they wide righted it to lose the game and send the Chiefs on. What are your expectations for what is always a tough Bills boxing match?
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch them play the Bills. It's always fun to get to play that team because they're like pretty good. They're like basically as good as we are. So it's like always a fight, and it's always going to be fun. I'm excited to watch it at home because we have been there twice in a row. So it'll be nice to be at home and just kind of watch it with some food, some snacks, some good coffee or whatever I want to drink that day, and just kind of chill around and be in my little cozy little home watching the Chiefs. So
But what are your thoughts about like versus this Buffalo team and Josh Allen and your thoughts about the game itself.
I think that it's gonna be close. It's always gonna be close. And this time I think that we're gonna win, but it's not gonna be, I think it's gonna be because we chose to and not because of luck. And like coming down to the wire. And I think we're gonna have it in the bag like at the end of the game. I feel it this time. I feel like we're gonna come out on top. There's no way that we're gonna like let them take the undefeated streak away. That's what I think. I think we're gonna win.
Okay. Based on what I've seen the last couple weeks, this game would concern me, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I think the Chiefs are going to have their A game for this. They're going to have some new wrinkles to their offense that they haven't been showing anybody yet because they've been saving them for this game in particular.
Exactly.
Based on what I've seen, I don't know if this is a for sure win for the Chiefs. And if I'm Josh Allen in any circumstance in the game, I have possession and can put the game away, much like we saw the Broncos attempt to do this last Sunday, they will and most likely succeed in doing that. And whenever Mahomes has the ball in his hands and can seal the game in his favor, then he usually does so as well.
Yep.
But last week, and in particular, the previous Buffalo Bills game in the playoffs, special teams was the decision maker for those games.
Yeah.
A blocked punt or blocked field goal here for the Denver Broncos game and a missed field goal in the Buffalo Bills game.
Yep.
So special teams is also a factor that needs to be considered. We need all three phases to be on their A game. We need the defense to have all the pressure they can possibly generate. We know Josh Allen is a tricky passer when he is in the pocket, and he is a scrambler, much like Mahomes. And being as big as a linebacker at times, he is not afraid to run you over and run for those tough yards and convert the first downs and win the game, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to be a close game down to the wire. The Chiefs are not fans of winning games outright against teams, and I think the Bills are a formidable opponent where even if they did take them lightly, the Bills are still going to make it a close game.
Yeah.
So I want to see Mahomes and Kelsey be the dominant forces they are. I'd like to see Xavier Worthy flash a couple times. We've seen 2 games in a row now where he could have and should have been a deep target and been a flash in the pan and show off on the stat sheet. And he's either had a blunder or out of bounds, or Mahomes just can't connect.
It just didn't happen.
Like it's just not working. And I'd like to see a couple of those deep shots work this game, because I feel like this is the game where you need those in your favor if you'd like to come out on top. And then once you have a lead, start to rely on Kareem Hunt and start getting those carries up and asking this Buffalo defense, do you really want to tackle Kareem Hunt 30, maybe even 40 times? If you can handle that. So that's where I stand. I'd like to see a tough competitive match. I'd like to obviously see the Chiefs come out on top, and it's going to be a tough battle if Buffalo plays the way that they have been playing and the Chiefs the way they've been playing. It could be a little concerning for us, but if the Chiefs finally put the pedal to the metal and decide to go full throttle, seeing that the Super Bowl is now in sight, we are now so and so miles away from our destination. We are driving that way, and now it is time to actually consider what we would like to do as we're approaching there, and how we'll deal with those situations and circumstances. And it's time for the Chiefs to take things to the proper level of seriousness and provide the support and protection for Mahomes, and make sure that you're not asking Steve Spagnuolo to hold a team to an insane amount of points. Just do what you're normally capable of doing, and put up the intensity, raise the heat, raise the temperature in the room. Let them know that we're officially getting close, and it's time to take this seriously and take things competitively, because every team's trying to get your number.
Yep.
And a couple of these teams have in the past previously got our number. Bills are notorious for getting us in the regular season.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs have been dominant against them in return for the postseason. So now is officially that rematch where the Chiefs and Bills will face off against each other. And that is our indicator that the AFC divisional matchup is slowly upon us. And the season is, at this point, more than halfway done.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We are getting into the colder months, and we haven't even experienced those colds. But
we will.
It is fast approaching.
I'm expecting it.
It is fast approaching. There's no stopping it.
Yeah.
Time is still happening. Time is still progressing at its pace.
Somebody at the game reminded me of the game that was really cold, and somebody's hot chocolate froze. So that's how cold it can get.
Yep. That's what you have to look forward to if you come to Kansas City. No, I'm just kidding.
No, not all the time. Just
but
like in January.
We're willing to go crazy. So.
Yeah.
But that is all the time we have for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Home and Cheese podcast. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Be sure to check out the upcoming episode of the Chief and Podcast with Dale and Lonnie, as they also give their opinions about the Broncos and Bills games. But that is all we have for you. Have a great rest of your week. And as always, go Chiefs! Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs. Red Kingdom Media.